Do you guys want to start the award show just for the hell of it, just to have a bit of fun? Or okay, gentlemen. So the award show. If you are a long-time listener, we love doing the award show. It's honestly one of my favorite shows of the year, guys. I'm not even lying when I say that. So we have a few different awards here, as always. And because this isn't the halfway awards or any crap like that, we get to do the bonus awards like our most improved player or team, the Gordon Bombay Power Move of the Year, and my personal favorite, the Brad Marchand embarrassment moment of embarrassing behavior. Anyway, gentlemen, and we will also be giving our Stanley Cup winners. So I will actually start there. Gentlemen, you all saw my bracket on Twitter earlier today. It was a bit of fun. Maybe we can talk about that later. Anyway, first and foremost, I would like to know. Honestly, I went into that bracket and I didn't know I was going to come out the way it did, but we can talk about that later. I feel like I have less friends today, but that's worth the price. Your Stanley Cup winners, who do you think is going to win the Stanley Cup? Daniel, you first, then Alex.
The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to win the Stanley Cup.
Holy crap. We're coming out the gates running.
Yes, we are. I am confident.
Woo!
I think what I said already about the energy in the city, what we saw already, the precursor to everything of this prediction was what I wanted to see. And I'm confident. I think that if you're not going to bet on yourself now with the core they have, when are you going to do that, right? I'm going to say, maybe next year, maybe a year before, but I'm going to say the Toronto Maple Leafs because nobody... we keep using the Raptors predictions, but 2019, no one had the Raptors as the favorites. Like maybe they were like fourth or fifth, and I think the Leafs are already there, and I think there's more parity in the NHL. So I'm gonna go with the Leafs because they're in their prime. They're going for it. I'm gonna say this might be their year, or this will be their year.
I don't do this often, but I feel like that might just have to be the preview for the show.
We've never had one so early. Daniel, that is brave.
That's bold.
I do kind of miss the thing of a first round Raptors exit is the prelude. And, before that, the Jays missing last year is the prelude to a Leafs win. I could understand other reasons, but we can get into that when we preview the Leafs Lightning series. That's a brave pick. Alex.
Brave. I went with Colorado. And I feel like, they got to get over that second round hump. Like it's there. Like it's been 3 years like that.
Feels like that, yeah.
So I feel like, and I guess this would be the year to do it, where you have that top line still rolling, and you have Nazem Kadri, who earlier this year, and I'm sure he had I haven't checked, but he must have finished the season incredibly. And you made those pickups at the deadline, and you made the addition of of Darcy Kemper in the offseason. If there's a year to do it, it must be now, or else I feel like if they don't, maybe we're having conversations about the Colorado Avalanche.
By the way, Nazem Kadri, 71 games played, finished with 87 points, 28 goals. I would like to look at the exact numbers. It feels like he definitely slowed down.
Yeah.
But we all know that he's a big presence in the playoffs. I saw it was a Daily Face-Off article today that Big 10 questions, and it was the over-under on his suspension numbers for this year's playoffs, which I thought was pretty yeah, exactly. My Stanley Cup winners. I have been saying Colorado all year, which is why now I'm going to say, no, not anymore. I'm going to say the Calgary Flames. Okay. I don't know. I feel like it's their year. The goaltending is there. The structure is there. They have 4 great lines. That top line is sensational. The big question, obviously, and we'll get to that when we preview their series in the first round. I do have a lot of questions about how Johnny Gaudreau will perform. But still, there's a lot I like about Calgary. And I actually have them beating the Penguins in the finals. And so it's a whole thing there. Okay, the Gordon Bombay Power Move of the Year. I'll go first. Mine was Paul Maurice gracefully resigning in Winnipeg to save his reputation right before the Jets crash and burn. Gordon Bombay, Power Move of the Year. Alex, then Daniel.
That's a good shout. It's funny. We'll I picked something that actually happened quite recently. I have the Lightning beat the Leafs 8-1 2 weeks before their first round matchup.
I like that. I like that
That
a lot.
that is a dominant. I see the quote you put in the document was asserting your dominance via an action you take.
Yes.
That seems like it.
Very fair. Daniel.
Okay, so I have a primary one and an honorable mention.
Okay,
Of course,
hold on.
of
Okay,
course, of
just
course.
because this is you, I knew this was gonna happen.
Okay.
Listen, I'm gonna ask you very politely
Okay.
to keep your honorable mentions to a minimum,
Okay.
but go ahead.
Okay. Power move of the year, and it's a recent one too, and it's a biased one. But Ryan Getzlaff's last NHL point, where it was just the like behind the back pass for the
Yes.
goal, and it was funny because they were talking about how his entire career, everyone said this guy should shoot more because he has a shot, he has an amazing shot, and then his last point is an amazing assist. Honorable mention and be quick here, and it's just Andrew Burnett coming into the Panthers locker room and just solidifying everything amid all the crazy stuff going on.
Andy Strickland having some stuff about Joe Quenneville, obviously the man before Andrew Burnett. We're going to talk about that later as well. Okay, next, the Brad Marchand Embarrassment Award of Embarrassing Behavior. This was obviously created after that famous shootout attempt where he completely botched it. My most embarrassing moment of the year is presented to the Philadelphia Flyers for ending Keith Yandel's Ironman streak against the Leafs on Hockey Night in Canada. What were they thinking? Go ahead, Alex, then Daniel.
That's a good one. That is a good one. I didn't pick that one. I think my Leafs bias is showing here a bit, but I have the Leafs 10-7 game against the Detroit Red Wings, where they blow that nice, good old lead. And then we had to have the discussion on whether it was a good game or not. And I felt embarrassed talking about it like that.
Fair, Daniel.
This is not a team performance. Well, it's not like on the ice performance, but I put the Chicago Blackhawks town hall.
That's a very good shout, Daniel. That's a very good one.
Okay. Because that one was that was just something where I thought they were going to clarify a lot of things or reassure season ticket holders that everything is being handled properly, and they just made it even worse.
It's a very good one. The other one I had here was actually to do with the Kyle Beach, the one that Daly and Bettman did, their press conference. There were a lot of embarrassing moments this year. We didn't even talk about the Coyotes, and think about all the moments they've had. Okay, most improved player or team. Okay, I'll give you this here. If you want to name, like, you can choose one, but if you have a player and a team, you can mention it. Daniel, then Alex.
Me, it's just one player, and it's Matt Duchene. I think that we all thought for the last few years that he was done, and I don't know what Nashville was going to do with that contract, what they were going to do in terms of competing, and he became a top guy for them again, and he helped them get into the playoffs. So he proved us all wrong when I said the Preds were not making the playoffs this year.
Career year in both goals and points, and assists as well. 86 and 78, 43 goals. Damn good year for Duchene.
I have Tage Thompson, who last year had 14 points in 38 games. This year he had 68 points in 78 games. He was 2 goals away from being a 40 goal scorer.
That's insane. He is making people really forget about the O'Reilly trade to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have a team and a player. I did cheat here. First off, my most improved player, we talk about the Ducks. My most improved player, because this guy was in trade talks last year, had 7 goals in 48 games this year. It's 37, 67 points. It's Troy Terry for me. Just easy. I actually had, I put a few names just in case you guys got it, and Tage Thompson was my backup. So attaboy Alex. Shout out to Jesper Brad as well. My most improved team is the Calgary Flames, because they were just nothing last year.
Right.
Like Montreal gave them all the room to make the playoffs too last year, and Markstrom was bad. We were wondering if if Kachuk was going to get traded. It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. Okay, next we have the most disappointing player or team of the year. Again, you can go one each here. My most disappointing team. I'm going to leave one out because I feel like one of you may say this. So my most disappointing team, I had them winning the cup. It's the New York Islanders. I don't need to explain why. And my most disappointing player is Philip Grubauer because he was not good in Seattle. Not good at all. Daniel, then Alex.
I actually also had the Islanders there. 2 straight trips to the conference finals, and they didn't really change anything in the offseason. And I don't know what happened to them, but maybe it's just going to be an outlier in Lou Lamoriello's tenure there, but probably one of the most disappointing years.
Indeed. Alex.
I don't have a team, but I do have a player. And
Mhm.
Adam, you did say him. It is Philip Grubauer. I think they signed him to be, their starting goaltender. And I think he was that for Colorado. And yes, he was that for Seattle, but the numbers don't look fantastic.
Not at all. The team I left off of here was Vegas, by the way. And we will talk about them later because they're officially out. Stuff with Robin Leonard, all that sort of stuff to talk to. Okay. For some reason, the next award I have is the MVP. We're going to save that for last. Adam, what are you thinking there? We're going to start with Coach of the Year. Okay. I'm just going to take a bet and say Alex is going to say John Cooper. I think Alex can probably guess I'm going to say Jared Bednar. First off, Alex, is your Coach of the Year John Cooper?
It is not John Cooper.
Oh,
really?
Surprising.
Oh, okay. Who is it?
So I put down Andrew Brunette.
Fair enough.
Oh.
Like I think you have to look at what how do I phrase this? Joe Quenneville did some horrible things.
Mhm.
And I think he wasn't really Andrew Brunette wasn't put in a great situation. And I think he continued the great form that the Panthers were playing under Joel Quenneville, and he continued that, and they probably were playing even better under Andrew Brunette.
I think it's a very good point. The President's Trophy winners. Daniel, your Coach of the Year. I'm going to predict you're going to say Dean Evison.
No, I was going to say Daryl Sutter, because the way I saw the team there is it's the Flames always had the talent there. They just had a lot of disappointing seasons where I felt like they were never hitting their potential.
Mhm.
And then suddenly Daryl Sutter comes back to the franchise, settles things, gets the most out of his skilled players, and still adds that identity that he's always known for balancing his lineups and then making them into a true contender here. So for me, it's just him coming in and seeing what he could do, make the most out of it, and run with it.
Fair enough. I'm going with Jared Bednar because the abs are disgusting. And he continues to do a great job with them. Simple as that. By the way, did you see the fact that apparently a team with Jack Johnson on its team has never won a series?
Really?
In fact, yeah. Apparently, Jay Fresh was like, "Wow, this is somewhat true," and he's a meme of a.
Oh
Jack
yeah,
Johnson.
the Kings traded him right before they traded for Jeff Carter before they won the cups.
Exactly. Which is it's just very unfortunate, that poor guy. And obviously he was parts in Columbus, but then obviously he wasn't. He would have been in Pittsburgh when they swept Tampa when the Blue Jackets did, and then Pittsburgh haven't won a series for a couple of years actually, when you think about it. Because they lose to the Islanders in the first. Well, he would have been gone for at that point anyway. But yeah, no, it's Jack Johnson has had an unfortunate sort of time. Okay, next GM of the year. I am going with my boy Joe Sakic and Team Colorado here. Alex, then Dan.
I'm going back to my Tampa Bay Lightning boy, Julian Brisebois.
Fair enough.
I think with the cap constraints and stuff and the ability to put the team together, and then at the deadline, yes, giving up a lot, but maybe what's necessary, similar to what I believe it was Steve Yzerman who made those trades. Was it Steve Yzerman who made those trades, or was it Julian Brisebois?
For which one?
Gaudreau and Coleman.
I think that was Brisebois.
That's Brisebois.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the second time around, he had to make those trades, and I mean, we'll find out if they work. If they're going to work, I think they will, and that's why I'm giving him the GM of the Year award.
I'd like to know Tampa Bay's forward lines, according to Daily Faceoff, and the job that he's done after losing that third line last year.
Sure, yeah, they're disgusting.
Palat, Stamkos, Kucherov, Point, Paul, Colton, Hagel, Cologne, Sorelli, Maroon, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, and Corey Perry. Defense is basically the same, and then Vasilevsky is still Vasilevsky. So there you go. Daniel.
I also had Julian Brisebois there. I think that he lost a lot last year. He was able to recoup things and really know how to play with his assets for things. Those 2 first-round picks on paper looks like it's a lot, but it's gonna be really low. Brendan Hagel's a guy that I feel that I already have a strong sense that they're gonna convince him in like a couple years to sign below market value in exchange for winning again. So he just keeps it going no matter what he loses in the offseason.
Okay. I'm not going to ask who you had the Selkie. I just want to know if either of you didn't say Bergeron, why?
No, I said Bergeron.
Okay, I said Pat too. Alex, I'm assuming you said Pat.
Yeah, no, there's no other
Okay.
answer. Let's just move on.
Go look at the numbers, people.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
The Calder Trophy. I have been with this guy since like the first month of the season. It's Moritz Seider for me.
Well, I think at the beginning of the year I had Lucas Raymond, but I think slowly as the season's gone on, I've made my switch to Moritz Seider. And I think it's like just quite evident. He's already, I mean, in my eyes, every time I watch him play, he just does something like out of this world. And I think, man, that guy's got a bright future. And I remember when they took him, it was completely off the board in a way. So it's interesting. Very interesting player.
I held on for so long on Trevor Zegras winning it. This year, I was hopeful that the scoring was going to continue, but I knew as the Ducks were going to tank, that was not the case. And he will be amazing later on, continue to be. But yeah, I have to go with Moritz Seider. I've explained it to you guys before that at such a young age, as especially being a defenseman who was also taken off the board, like Alex said, he's developed into what I say, a German Chris Pronger. He has all the tools. He has the size. He has the grit. That's just like a guy that, and I'm probably going to be really early with this, but it's this early signs of a generational type of defenseman.
Okay. Did anyone not say Shesterkin for the Vezina?
I said Frederick Anderson. No, I'm kidding. I said Shesterkin.
Okay. 935 save percentage. So he beats Carey Price, who's a 933 in 2014-15. So that's new. Carey had the better goals against average, so suck it. Anyway,
Mike, suck it.
The Fulton Reed Trophy on this show is the defensive defenseman of the year. I was with this guy for Team Canada. It's Jared Spurgeon to me. Daniel and Alex. I know what Alex is going to say.
All right. I'm going to go by the numbers for this one. From our good friend of the show, Harman Dial, and who is the top shutdown defenseman. And we never actually said this guy, but I'm going to say Charlie McAvoy. He's technically number 2 compared on top 5-on-5, but because it's Jonas Brodin, but I picked Jonas Brodin the last 2 years. So I'm going to go with Charlie McAvoy.
Alex, tell me a bit about Mr. Carolina.
Oh, well, no, I picked Jonas Brodin.
Oh, okay.
I think the way, Minnesota have been playing, I think that's defensive. They're just so good defensively. I mean, it does help when you have Marc-Andre Fleury back there, but I picked Jonas Brodin.
Talbot, come on. Talbot's been good this year.
And Talbot too. Sorry, and Talbot. Yes.
We're gonna have that discussion because I think people are forgetting that Fleury's kind of man in the playoffs sometimes. We're gonna have that discussion when we talk about that series though. Okay, now the Norris Trophy on this show is purely the offensive defenseman. You may think I'm gonna say Cale Makar, but I'm going Roman Josi. I can't deny those numbers. I can't do it. Alex and Daniel for your offensive D of the year.
Yeah, no, I also had Roman Josi. I think 96 points this year, 4 away from 100, and he played 2 less. He played 80 games instead of 82. 23 goals, again, a career high. I don't know how you look at it and say he's not the Norris winner this year.
I gotta say Roman Josi as well. It's kind of crazy when I saw those numbers because I felt like, is this the 1990s again? You're seeing defensemen putting up these types of numbers. Whenever I see 40 and up, I'm like, that's impressive because only select few usually get to 50 or 60. So I guess it's a historical year, I guess, for the modern NHL. So it has to be Roman Josi.
The MVP, guys, I changed my MVP vote today. It's been consistent. It was Shesterkin, and it was Matthews, but I've changed it. You guys know who my dark horse for the Stanley Cup is and what I named my bracket. Respect Minnesota. I am on the Kirill Kaprizov wagon like no one else.
Wow.
I just love what he's done. He got better this year. The respectability he's brought to Minnesota. I am also, quote, part saying this, so, it's not all three of us saying Austin Matthews, I'll admit. Because I wanted to give more time to the MVP discussion besides saying we all said Matthews. So, but go ahead, Alex and Daniel. Who's your MVP?
I really did have an extremely hard time choosing a guy.
Low key, it's freaking good this year. It's very good.
It is, and I did cut it down to 3 players at the end, which was Matthews, McDavid, and Shesterkin. I mean, in the end, I did pick Matthews because 60 goals 3 times, like the third time in 20 years that's been done. Not bad at all. And I think he's over the last few years, he's improved on the other side of the ice. And I think that was extremely reflected this year. But that being said, where McDavid was on over an 82 game schedule. Obviously last year he was on a ridiculous pace. But this year, I think he was putting up career numbers.
Yep.
And I think you can't underestimate his importance to that team. And with Shesterkin, maybe the back half of the season where he quote unquote slowed down, which was it really slowing down? It was still ridiculous numbers. But I think you saw a lot more with the Rangers outside of Shesterkin.
Mm-hmm.
And not that his value to the team diminished, but it's just a lot of other players, I think, around him picked up while he was still that top-notch level goalie. But I think I still have to pick Matthews. Might be some bias there, I won't lie.
Daniel.
Yeah, so based on what I already said on this episode, I have to go with Austin Matthews. Historical year as well. He never let off the gas, if that makes sense. Once he got off of that cold streak to begin the season, he just was that guy for them. And I think that's what you want to see for your franchise guy. You just keep getting better every year. And I think this was his best year yet.
Mm-hmm. Some other we talked about Shesterkin, we talked about Yossi. McDavid quietly had a career year for goals, assists, points. Technically penalty minutes too. Isn't that funny? And I know this stat doesn't matter, but a career high and plus minus. 123 points. That is the quietest 123 point season I've ever seen. Again, it's the thing going around this year, and people realize is it's maybe not Matthews better than McDavid. It's the gap is closed, but we've forgotten how good McDavid really is. He's unreal. Yeah.
And I feel like I was saying earlier, there's just so many guys. I feel like there's 10 guys I could have put on my list. I really could.
Gaudreau,
Huberdeau. There's so many other names.
Phil Deneau. You great player.
Yeah, of course. But I had to cut it down, and that was ridiculously difficult to do that.
It's a great year. I can't wait to see obviously last year McDavid was the unanimous Hart Trophy winner, every single first place vote. I can't wait to see what it's going to look like this year. It's definitely going to be. We did mention Huberdeau. That guy's been wicked. Draisaitl, of course, a bit more respectable. We like Leon. Apparently the best passer in the league according to the players, which is very strange. Very strange.